Grant Enfinger finally was able to break through. He's had some strong runs with this new CR7 program that he's a part of this year. They finally got a win at a track where he's won before, Talladega Superspeedway. So we know Grant Enfinger is obviously one of the best truck lifers, for lack of better terms here, if you want to call him that. He's had a phenomenal career in this series and very nearly won a championship last year. Now he's going to Phoenix once again to have a shot at a little bit of redemption after coming up just short in 2023. So if Grant Enfinger could win a championship here with this CR7 Motorsports program, would you consider that an upset, not just from a team, but also from a driver as well? Or do you view Grant Enfinger as a driver that should be in championship contention, despite the fact that he moved over from GMS to a still relatively new startup program at CR7 this year?
Yeah, I think there's somewhere to meet in the middle there. I think CR7 is a shock for them become a champion. But Grant Enfinger, I still think he's in the peak of his truck lifer career. I think he's still fully capable of doing that. And he's kind of expected to be here, in my opinion, and it's not too much of a surprise for me. But I mean, only 6 top fives on the year, and just getting his first win now, 2 stage wins for 2024. He's kind of like Ty Majeski. He's got a way of lighting up towards the end of the year, and the truck series calendar isn't that long to begin with. So really just that final third, we're starting to see Grant Enfinger show up, get the win at Talladega. And no, I don't see him as a surprise here, moving towards Phoenix, but the CR7 moving. And I was telling you, CR7 and GMS, I almost forgot throughout this year that GMS shut down, and this is not GMS, this is CR7, because I mean it feels very, very similar, and I was being honest with you before the show, I forgot that CR7 was even a thing.
Yeah, well, and I think in complete fairness to the team, I'm sure Grant obviously brings a wealth of knowledge and experience, and with GMS shutting down, of course, I don't know off the top of my head exactly where all of those employees ended up. I would hope some of them were able to follow Grant over to the CR7 program this year. But I remember in 2020, right before the pandemic shut everything down, we got a few races in. One of them was, of course, the season opener at Daytona. And Cody Rohrbaugh was driving the truck himself still at the time and finished in third in that crazy Daytona race. And that was seen as a real shock at the time. I think a lot of people were probably like you, Brandon. They had no idea what the CR7 program was at all. And then Cody comes out and gets a podium finish of the season opening race Daytona. And then he backed it up with another top 10 the following year in 2021. All the meanwhile, Grant Enfinger was driving for Thorsport at the time and had some funding fall through. He couldn't maintain his full-time status. So what did CR7 do? They reached out to him after he missed the Daytona road course, gave him the opportunity to come into a truck at Las Vegas, and he rewarded them with a 7th place finish, ended up getting a 4th as well, Coda for that team later in the year. And it's unfortunate that despite the fact that we joke sometimes that NASCAR hands these waivers out like candy, Grant did not get a waiver for missing that one Daytona road course race. That was pretty much his entire season there. He did not get a chance to run for a championship in 2021, despite having done so the previous year in 2020. And obviously from what we saw last year, we know that he's capable of making a run at that Truck Series title. So it's unfortunate that he didn't get that chance because of circumstances a couple of years ago. But then, of course, Enfinger spends a couple of years at GMS, and over on the CR7 side of things, they had Blaine Perkins in the truck in 2022, Colby Howard in 2023. And unfortunately, we're not able to find very much success with either of them. Colby Howard did get a 4th place finish at Daytona last year, so kudos to him for that. But aside from that, very much a struggle to even finish in the top 15 or top 10, let alone compete for wins in a championship. And then GMS shuts down, and Grant, has nowhere to go, ends up reuniting with the CR7 team that allowed him to run most of the full season in 2021. Took him some time to get started this year. Like I said backstage, Brandon, of course, he only had a couple of top 10s at Las Vegas and Bristol through the first 9 races of the year. And then he went out and finished second in North Wilkesboro, and that was kind of the start of a positive run of momentum for them. Several top 5s in the following races there. Got into the playoffs, now has won Talladega, and is going to go back to Phoenix and compete for a championship. So, of course, to sum it all up, bring it all back, Grant Enfinger, no surprise at all. I don't know that you could necessarily consider that an upset in a normal year, but for this to be his first year back running with CR7 full time and where that truck was just a couple of years ago to where it is now, if you had told somebody in 2022 that that truck was going to be competing for a championship, you probably would have gotten a really surprised look. It would have taken a perfect storm of events, really a number of events to fall into place for that truck to get to that point. And now they have here with Grant Enfinger. So with how Grant's been running, with the talent that Grant has behind the wheel, would not be surprised in the slightest if he's able to pull off what he came up just short from pulling off last year and parking it in victory lane, winning a championship at Phoenix in just a few weeks' time.